Thomas, what motivated you to follow this career path?
Growing up, I knew a game warden. His name was Dirk Remensnyder, and he pretty much, since I've been about 5 years old, he was around like all the time. He was a really close family friend to us, and he was just telling us stories, basically what he did in the job and everything like that, and it just inspired me to do it, and that's where I ended up here. That's how I ended up here today.
Michael, what motivated you to want to be a state game warden?
Well, in 8th grade, we had a career day presentation at Susquehanna Middle School. An officer who's now retired, his name was Stephen Hauer, came in and gave the presentation to us, just explained his job, what he does, and ever since then it was a job that I wanted to pursue.
Based on one study that examined MRIs of mothers before and after pregnancy, they found size and structure of their brains changed. Gray matter, which contains a lot of cell bodies and neurons needed for the brain to send messages, was actually lost over time. This loss, however, wasn't necessarily negative. It was due to brain neuroplasticity and neurogenesis. These terms explain the brain's capacity to reorganize, prune, and grow new connections in response to significant changes in our life. In this case, the brain regions that cultivate empathy, self-monitoring, and reflection were more active, suggesting that the brain was perfecting these areas for responding to infants' emotional and behavioral needs. These results suggested that emotional regulation could increase over time, which could really help a mom cope with the new stressors of motherhood and initiate more positive feelings towards her infant. This in turn would strengthen the mother-infant bond, especially with the release of dopamine, the reward hormone, and oxytocin, the social bonding hormone.
One of the most dangerous maneuvers on a tractor is turning. The sharper a turn and the faster the speed, the stronger the force to tip a tractor over. In fact, doubling a tractor's speed from 3 miles per hour to 6 miles per hour during a turn increases the force to tip a tractor over by 4 times. Furthermore, tripling a tractor's speed from 3 miles per hour to 9 miles per hour increases that same force by 9 times.
You're actually at about 12 to 15 degrees angle, okay? And there's really no rule of thumb of when a tractor would tip over, but depending on if he had his bucket up in the air or maybe his wheel hit a groundhog hole, it could get, pretty steep and tip over.
Have you been holding off on home improvements because you're not sure it's something you can afford? Estimate the cost of your next home improvement project by visiting firstcitizensbank.com/calculators. Select a term at the top, then find your project. Drop in your measurements and you'll get a project estimate and an approximate monthly payment. Once you know the amount you need to borrow, click Apply and make your home improvements a reality.
At the Rotary meeting with 3 girls from the Wellsboro High School. They are going to be presenting a very special event. Alexandra, what is this event?
We're hosting a melting pot fair right in the green, and we're going to have the organizations and businesses in Wellsboro to present their own culture and their own spin on it.
Abigail, if anyone has any questions or wants to know any more information, who can they contact?
They can contact us at Tioga County Cultural Advocates at gmail.com.
What is the goal of a weekend like this?
We're really inviting folks to come out and learn the entire process from the maple tree, from tapping the tree, to their table. So instead of just going to the grocery store and buying a jug of syrup, which certainly you can do, there's a lot that goes into it, into the process. And when groups come out, we're actually able to tap trees right with them.
What activities should visitors expect?
Well, they have, besides tapping the trees, we'll then take them in the sugar house where the sap is boiled down to make syrup, and they'll get to see that process in a small scale. We really have a small operation at the park, so it's easier to see than some larger commercial operations. And then they'll get to taste some samples that were made at the park.
That's really cool. Thank you so much for joining us today.
You're welcome.
And we hope to see your family having fun at Maple Weekend. Thanks for joining us today on the Homepage Network.
Hi, I'm Julian.
And I'm Anya.
People come to us for puzzles, Pennsylvania wooden toys, art kits, and games, but mostly for shared experiences.
We sell games because when people share an experience, it builds relationships and builds community.
So come in for a board game, and whether you end up settling Catan, growing a forest, or building train lines, you will end up telling a story together.
One you may never forget.